The stars looked different from the observation deck of Luna Base. Dr. Alessandra Volkov had spent 3,000 nights staring at them, mapping constellations, searching for patterns in the cosmic static. Tonight the patterns had changed. 7 dark shapes hung against the tapestry of space. Not stars, not asteroids, ships, massive, angular, silent. They had appeared 6 hours ago, materializing at the edge of the solar system like predators emerging from tall grass. No advance warning from deep space sensors, no hail, just presence. Alex's fingers moved across her console, pulling data from the deep space array. Her coffee sat forgotten, going cold. Outside the reinforced glass, Earth hung like a blue marble, peaceful and unaware. The largest ship was the size of Manhattan. The others arranged themselves in formation, moving with deliberate grace toward the inner system. Their hulls absorbed light, making them difficult to track. Predatory insects. That's what they look like. Mantises built from midnight and steel. Her comm chirked. Commander Marcus Thorne's voice crackled through rough with sleeplessness. Volkov, tell me you've got something. Alex didn't look away from the screen. 7 vessels, unknown configuration. They're not broadcasting any identification, not responding to standard hails. Are they slowing down? She checked the vectors. Her stomach tightened. No, they're accelerating toward Earth. A pause. Then Marcus's voice, quieter now. Get to communications hub, immediately. The quarter lights flickered red as Alex ran. Emergency protocols activating. Personnel rushing past in controlled chaos. She'd trained for this moment her entire career. First contact. The dream of every xenolinguist. This didn't feel like a dream. The communications hub was a cathedral of screens and data streams. Marcus stood at the central console, his dark skin gleaming with sweat under the harsh lights. Beside him, a dozen technicians worked frantically, trying every frequency, every protocol humanity had devised for this moment. They're ignoring us, one technician said. Every hail, every format, nothing. Alex slid into her station, pulling up the linguistic analysis software she'd spent a decade building. If these visitors were transmitting anything, she'd find it. 3 minutes of silence. Then her screen erupted with data. I've got something, she breathed. They're transmitting. Short range between their ships. Encrypted, but... Her fingers flew. The AI she'd trained on 1,000 dead languages began parsing the alien syntax. Pattern recognition. Structural analysis. The mathematics of meaning emerging from chaos. Words formed on her screen. Her blood went cold. Commander, her voice came out strangled. You need to see this. Marcus crossed to her station in 3 strides, read the translated text. His jaw clenched so hard she heard his teeth grind. Soft prey detected. Behavioral analysis complete. Compliance expected. Resistance probability negligible. Harvest will proceed without complication. They've been watching us, Alex whispered. Our broadcasts, our transmissions. They've been studying Earth. Marcus's hand closed around the edge of her console. For how long? She pulled up the transmission logs, her hands shaking. The pattern suggests years, maybe decades. They've analyzed our media, our news, our... She stopped, looked up at him. Our charity programs, humanitarian aid, peace treaties. Understanding dawned in Marcus's eyes, cold and terrible. They think we're weak. Alex nodded. They see empathy as vulnerability, cooperation as cowardice. They've completely misunderstood us. Marcus straightened, his voice carried across the hub, steady as stone. Open a direct channel. All frequencies. I want them to hear this. Sir, they won't. Do it. The technicians worked quickly. A connection established, broadcast on every wavelength. Marcus stepped forward, his face hard. Attention, unidentified vessels. This is Commander Marcus Thorne of the United Earth Defense Force. You are approaching a sovereign world. State your intentions immediately. Silence. Then Alex's screen lit up again. New transmission, this time directed at them. The translation algorithm processed it, displayed the words. Your communication is acknowledged. Your compliance will make the harvest efficient. Resistance will be eliminated. Submit peacefully. You will serve the Krell Imperium. The connection cut. Alex's hands trembled above her keyboard. Around the hub, faces had gone pale. Marcus's expression remained carved from granite, but his eyes burned. They want a response, he said quietly. Give them one. Dr. Volkov composed a message. Make it clear. Alex's fingers hovered over the keys. Every word mattered now. This might be humanity's only chance to avert catastrophe. She began typing. To the Krell Imperium, you are making a grave mistake. You have studied our compassion and mistaken it for weakness. You have seen our mercy and believed it is all we are capable of. You are wrong. Humans choose peace when peace is possible. But when threatened, when our families and our world hang in the balance, we are capable of things you cannot imagine. Leave now. This is your only warning. Do not ignore it. She looked at Marcus. He read the message, nodded once. Send it. The words transmitted across the void, traveling at light speed towards 7 dark ships that continued their inexorable approach to Earth. For 60 seconds, nothing. Then a response. Short, dismissive. Your warning amuses us. Alex stared at the screen. Those 4 words hung there glowing. Final. Marcus's comm erupted with voices, reports flooding in from Earth's orbital defense platforms, energy signatures spiking across the Krell fleet, weapons charging. He reached for the station-wide comm, his hand steady, his voice carrying the weight of certainty. All personnel, battle stations. This is not a drill. Alert Earth governments. Evacuate orbital civilians. Prepare for. The first energy beam lanced through space. It struck Beijing at 0347 Universal Time. The world ended in light, not all at once, not everywhere, but in 23 places across Earth's surface, massive energy weapons carved through atmosphere, and rock and flesh and steel. Each beam burned for exactly 7 seconds. Each one vaporized a 3-mile radius in an instant. Beijing, New York, London, Moscow, Tokyo, Mumbai, Sao Paulo, cities, millions of lives, gone before anyone could scream. From Luna Base, Alex watched Earth bloom with flowers of fire. Her sister was in New York. Emma, 28 years old, pediatric nurse, engaged to a teacher named David. Planning a wedding for next spring. They'd talked 2 days ago. Emma excited about cake tasting, laughing, alive. Alex had her on video call when it happened. Emma's face on the screen smiling, saying something about frosting flavors. Then the emergency sirens in the background. Emma's expression changing. Confusion, fear, looking toward the window. The light, static, nothing. Alex's hands gripped the edges of her console. She couldn't breathe, couldn't think. The numbers scrolling across screens meant nothing. The damage assessments, the casualty estimates climbing into millions. 15 million dead in the first 20 minutes. Her sister was a number now. Around the hub case, technicians shouting, screens showing orbital platforms trying to return fire their weapons like toys against Krell shields. Marcus coordinating with Earth forces, his voice steady even as the world burned below. Alex sat frozen, staring at the blank screen where Emma's face had been, a hand on her shoulder. Marcus, his face lined with grief that matched her own. Dr. Volkov, I need you functional. Millions more need you functional. She looked up at him, saw in his eyes the same emptiness she felt. He had family down there too. Alara, his wife, colonel in the Mountain Command. He didn't know if she was alive, but he was still standing, still giving orders, still fighting. Alex forced herself to breathe, nodded, turned back to her console. What do you need? Keep monitoring their communications. Any tactical data, any weakness, anything. She pulled herself together through sheer force of will, began filtering transmissions. The Krell were talking freely now, confident, coordinating their attack, and their words made her sick. Ground forces deploying, expect immediate surrender. Preliminary harvest can begin within hours. Resistance negligible as predicted. They thought it was over. They thought humanity would just give up. Marcus stepped to the command platform. Every face in the hub turned toward him, waiting for orders, for hope, for something. Authorization code, he said, his voice carrying absolute certainty. Long memory, execute protocol scorched earth. Silence, then frantic activity. Technicians transmitting encoded orders to every military installation on Earth. Secure channels lighting up. Alex had no idea what protocol scorched earth meant, but she saw the way Marcus's jaw set, The way his eyes went cold and distant. This wasn't surrender. The Krell landed expecting triumph. Supreme Overlord Thax watched from his command throne as troop transports descended on the smoldering cities, ground forces deploying across all major population centers. The humans had gone silent after the initial strike, their primitive defenses destroyed, their communication networks crippled. The harvest would be swift. His intelligence officers had been correct. These humans valued individual life above all else. The first show of overwhelming force had broken them. Now came the easy part: subjugation, resource extraction, integration into the Imperium. His second-in-command approached bowing low. Supreme Overlord, the ground commander's report. Anomaly. Thax's eyes narrowed. Explain. The city's overlord, they are empty. Empty. Our forces report minimal casualties, but no living humans, no bodies beyond the initial strike zones, no resistance, no surrender. They simply vanished. Thax stood, his elongated form unfolding to its full height. Impossible. Billions of humans inhabit this world. Where could they go? The second-in-command's skin darkened with uncertainty, the Krell equivalent of anxiety. Unknown Overlord, our scans show massive underground networks, bunkers, tunnels, systems we did not detect from orbit. They appear to have evacuated. Evacuated in hours? Impossible. Our analysis showed no such capability. Nevertheless, the cities stand empty. Our forces control only ruins. Thax's claws scraped against his throne. The humans had hidden, scattered, gone to ground like prey animals fleeing predators. Good. Let them cower in darkness. Without infrastructure, without organization, they would starve. Emerge desperate, broken. The Imperium had time. Establish garrison positions. Begin deep scans. Locate their hiding places. We will dig them out. Every last one. Yes, Supreme Overlord. But as his second retreated, Thax felt something unfamiliar. A whisper of doubt. The humans had moved too quickly, too efficiently, as if they had planned for this, as if they had been waiting. He dismissed the thought. Prey had instincts, survival reflexes, nothing more. The Imperium had conquered 3 star systems. Earth would be the 4th. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in bunkers that had waited in darkness for a century, humanity took stock. Billions had evacuated in the hours between the Krell's appearance and their attack. Protocol Scorched Earth, a contingency plan developed in the paranoid years of the Cold War and updated in secret ever since. Networks of underground facilities, supply caches, communication systems independent of surface infrastructure. Marcus had activated it with a single code phrase, and humanity had vanished. Not surrendered, not scattered in panic. Executed a coordinated withdrawal that moved 4 billion people underground in less than 6 hours. Colonel Ilara Thorne stood in the Colorado Command Center, watching casualty reports with ice in her veins. 15 million dead, cities in ruins, but 4 billion saved, hidden, safe for now. Her husband had bought them time. She activated her comm broadcasting on the encrypted military channel that linked every resistance cell across the planet. Her voice steady, strong. All units, this is Colonel Thorne. You know your orders. We don't fight their war. We fight ours. The Krell expects surrender or chaos. Give them neither. Give them silence. Give them ghosts. And when they're comfortable, when they think they've won, that's when we hunt. Across Earth, in bunkers and tunnels and hidden facilities, resistance fighters checked their weapons. Scientists studied salvaged Krell technology. Engineers prepared. Doctors tended the wounded. And they waited. Above ground, Krell patrols moved through empty streets, searching for prey that had vanished into darkness. They would learn. Luna Base became humanity's nerve center, cut off from the occupied Earth below, but still functional, still watching. Alex worked 18-hour days, sleeping in her quarters for brief intervals before returning to her station. No time for grief, no space for the hollowness where her sister used to be. Emma was gone. 15 million others were gone, but 4 billion still lived. Alex made herself useful, made herself necessary, threw herself into the one thing she could control: understanding the enemy. The Krell broadcast constantly. Coordination between ground forces, status reports to their fleet, tactical updates. And because they believed themselves unchallenged, they didn't bother with heavy encryption. Alex listened to it all. She mapped their language, decoded their syntax, built psychological profiles from the patterns in their communication, and slowly, piece by piece, she began to understand them. The Krell Imperium was built on absolute hierarchy. Every soldier had a specific role, every officer a defined protocol. Orders flowed from the top down. Initiative from below was not just discouraged, it was incomprehensible to them. They thought as a collective, moved as one organism, which meant they had a critical weakness. Alex pulled up the research on social insects, army ants, termites, bees. Cut off from the colony, they didn't improvise, they froze, waited for instructions that never came. The Krell were the same. Sever their command structure, and the soldiers wouldn't adapt. They'd wait for orders, follow protocol, even as they died. She compiled her findings into a report, transmitted it to Marcus. His response came back within minutes. Can we exploit this? Alex stared at the question. Thought about Emma, about 15 million dead, about 4 billion hiding in darkness. She typed her answer. Yes. Give me time to build something. 3 weeks. That's what she had. 3 weeks to create a communication network that the Krell couldn't detect. Something that linked every resistance cell on Earth, every hidden bunker, every survivor. She called it Ghost Protocol. Quantum encrypted, transmitted through civilian satellite debris the Krell had ignored. Packets of data hidden in electromagnetic noise. Undetectable. Unhackable. It took her 21 days and 0 sleep. On day 22, she went live. Across Earth, resistance cells received the activation code. Suddenly, fighters in the Rockies could coordinate with those in the Himalayas. Scientists in the Mariana Deep Lab could share data with engineers on Mars colony. Captain Zara Kincaid on the UES Vengeance, playing dead in orbit, could relay intelligence from space. Humanity had been scattered. Now it was networked. Marcus's voice came through on the command channel broadcast to every resistance leader on the planet. All units, first coordinated operation commences at 0400 Universal. Targets have been assigned. Rules of engagement: hit hard, disappear fast, leave no trace. Show the Krell what happens when you hunt ghosts. Alex sat in her Luna base station watching the tactical displays. 12 teams, 12 Krell outposts, all across the globe. 0400 Universal Time arrived, and the ghost struck. The first Krell patrol to die never knew what hit them. 5 soldiers marching through the ruins of Denver, scanning for human life signs. Their sensors showed nothing. Ruins and rubble and empty streets. The sonic disruptor hit them from 3 blocks away. Krell armor relied on molecular bonding. The ultrasonic frequency disrupted that bonding at a specific resonance. Their shields flickered, failed. The armor shattered like glass. They died without firing a shot. In Tokyo, a Krell supply convoy vanished. All 20 vehicles. Drivers found dead in their seats, cargo gone. No witnesses, no tracks. In London, a command post went dark. 12 officers, 17 soldiers, all dead. The security footage showed nothing. Just static, then silence. Across Earth, 12 strikes in 12 locations. 543 Krell casualties. 0 human losses. Alex watched the reports flood in through Ghost Protocol, saw the coordination, the precision. The rage translated into tactical perfection. On the main screen, she pulled up intercepted Krell transmissions. Thax's command channel were erupting with confusion. Report who is attacking, where are they? No answers. The ground commanders had none to give. Alex allowed herself a thin smile. The first she'd felt since Emma died. They ignored the warning, she whispered to the empty hub. Now the hunt begins. On Earth, in orbit, on Mars, on Luna, humanity had stopped reeling. Now it fought back, and the Krell were about to learn the difference between choosing peace and being incapable of war. The real battle was just beginning. Month 2, the Krell controlled 70% of Earth's surface. Their garrisons dotted the continents like tumors. Supply lines stretched between orbital platforms and ground installations. Patrols swept through ruins searching for humans who refused to materialize. They were winning. They just didn't know they were dying. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a research facility built into the Mariana Trench's crushing darkness, Dr. Nisha Ramanujan studied fragments of Krell technology with the intensity of obsession. The underwater lab had been designed for deep-sea exploration. Now it served as humanity's most secret weapon. 30 scientists, limited supplies, and samples of Krell hull plating salvaged from destroyed orbital platforms. Nisha hadn't slept in 40 hours. Her hands moved with precision, placing a sliver of alien metal into the resonance chamber. The metal was extraordinary, lighter than titanium, stronger than diamond, self-repairing at the molecular level, impenetrable until now. She activated the sonic emitter, started at low frequencies, worked her way up the spectrum. The metal sat inert, absorbing vibrations, dispersing energy, perfect defense. She reached 47 kilohertz. The metal shivered, Nisha's breath caught. She fine-tuned the frequency, 47.3 kilohertz. The metal began to resonate, molecular bonds vibrating in sympathy with the sound wave. 47.6. The metal cracked. 48.2. It shattered into powder. Nisha stared at the dust in the chamber, her hands shaking. Around the lab, other scientists had stopped working, watching. "Did you just," her assistant began. "Get me a secure channel to Luna Base," Nisha said. Her voice steady despite the adrenaline flooding her system. "I need to speak with Dr. Volkov. Now." Alex received the transmission in the dead of Luna night. Nisha's face on the screen, dark circles under her eyes. But those eyes burned bright. "We found it," Nisha said, "the weakness." For the next 20 minutes, Alex listened, took notes, asked questions, her mind racing through implications, applications, possibilities. Krell hull material, the foundation of their technological superiority, their ships, their armor, their weapons, all built from the same molecular structure, all vulnerable to a specific sonic frequency. When Nisha finished, Alex sat back, allowed herself a moment of something that felt almost like hope. "Can we weaponize it? Already designing prototypes. Give me a month. I'll have working disruptors." "You have 3 weeks. We're planning something big." Nisha smiled, fierce and tired. "Make it count." The transmission ended. Alex immediately opened a channel to Marcus on Earth. Encrypted, routed through Ghost Protocol. His face appeared. Older than she remembered. The weight of command aging him in months instead of years. Behind him, the Colorado Command Center bustled with activity. "I've got good news," Alex said. "We can hurt them now. Really hurt them." She explained Nisha's discovery, watched Marcus's expression shift from exhausted to calculating, the tactical mind engaging. How many disruptors can she produce? Enough for a major operation, not enough to arm everyone. Then we choose the target carefully. Marcus pulled up a tactical map. Denver, Krell Regional Headquarters, Lafon. 3,000 soldiers. If we can take it, we control the entire Rocky Mountain sector. That's ambitious. We've been invisible for 2 months. Hit and run, ghosts. The Krell think we're broken, scattered. They're comfortable, complacent. His eyes met hers through the screen. "Time to show them what comfortable case." Alex nodded. "I'll coordinate from here. Get me your assault plan. I'll run psychological operations. Keep their command structure confused. One more thing." Marcus hesitated. "Ilara's leading the ground operation. She wanted me to tell you." Alex's throat tightened. Colonel Ilara Thorne, Marcus's wife. One of the finest tactical minds in the resistance. Also one of the people Alex had grown closest to in the dark months since the invasion. "Tell her to come back alive." "I tell her that every day." "She never listens." The ghost of a smile. Then the connection cut. Alex turned to her console, began drafting psychological warfare protocols. Messages to broadcast on Krell frequencies during the assault. Disinformation to fragment their response. Emma would have been proud. Emma, who loved puzzles, who would have found the linguistics fascinating, who was dust in New York's ruins. Alex pushed the grief down, channeled it into the work, made her sister's death mean something. Month 6, day 173. Denver had been beautiful once. Mile-high city, mountain views, urban sprawl meeting wilderness. Now it was Krell territory. The aliens had built their regional command center in the ruins of the Capitol building, fortified it, surrounded it with sensor grids and automated defenses. 3,000 soldiers garrisoned in converted buildings throughout the city. They thought they were safe. At 200 Mount from operative Dante Moreau callsign Wraith crossed into the exclusion zone. Alone, unarmed, invisible. He'd earned his call sign, 6 feet of lean muscle, dark skin that blended with shadows, eyes that missed nothing. Special forces before the invasion. Now humanity's best infiltrator. He'd spent 3 weeks studying Krell patrol patterns, sensor placements, shift changes, guard rotations, every variable, every detail. Now he moved through their perimeter like smoke. The Krell relied on technology, motion sensors, thermal imaging, electromagnetic scanners. But Wraith had learned their systems, knew their blind spots, the quarter-second gaps when sensors switched modes, the angles where overlapping fields created dead zones. He was a ghost passing through their net. 30 minutes. That's what he needed. Plant the beacons, mark the targets, give Alara's forces the data they needed for precision strikes. He reached the first location, an automated gun emplacement covering the southern approach. Pulled a beacon from his pack. Magnetic, size of a quarter. He placed it on the emplacement's power coupling. 1 down, 11 to go. He disappeared back into shadows. At 0400, the sonic disruptors opened fire. Alara Thorne watched through binoculars from a ridge 2 miles out as the Krell perimeter defenses shattered. The disruptors' crude devices Nisha's team had built in 3 desperate weeks emitted focused beams of 48.2 kilohertz. Inaudible to humans, devastating to Krell technology. The automated guns tore themselves apart, molecular bonds failing, metal screaming as it fractured. Now, Alara said into her comm, 2,000 fighters emerged from the ruins. Not soldiers, not all of them. Civilians who'd lost families, who'd hidden for months, who'd trained on salvaged weapons and borrowed tactics. They hit the Krell positions like a hammer. The aliens never had time to coordinate. Wraith's beacons guided mortar fire with surgical precision. Command posts exploded, communication relays shattered, and when Krell's soldiers tried to respond, their armor failed under sonic assault. The battle lasted 6 hours. When dawn broke over the Rockies, Denver belonged to humanity again. Alara walked through the Capitol building, Krell bodies everywhere, her fighters securing rooms, taking prisoners. The aliens who surrendered looked confused, lost, like children separated from parents. She found Wraith in what had been the Krell commander's office. He stood over a Krell officer, the alien on its knees, hands bound. "This one speaks English," Wraith said. "Been talking, a lot." Alara approached the prisoner, studied it, the large black eyes, the gray skin, the elongated limbs. It looked fragile without armor. "What's your designation?" The Krell's voice came out in clicks and whistles. A translation device on its chest rendered it in accented English. "Sub-Commander Vorn, 2nd Intelligence Division." "You understand you're a prisoner of war." Vorn's eyes tracked her. "Your species has no concept of war. Our analysts were certain. You value individual life above victory. You negotiate, compromise, surrender to avoid casualties." Alara's jaw tightened. "Your analysts were wrong. Clearly." Something that might have been respect flickered in those alien eyes. "What will you do with us?" "That depends." Alara crouched to eye level. "How many prisoners did we take?" Wraith checked his tablet. 1,047. Rest fought to death. 1,000 prisoners. Alara let that sink in. "Your forces executed captives, made examples. We could do the same." Vorn's skin darkened. Fear response. "But we won't," Alara continued. "You'll be treated according to Geneva Conventions. Fed, given medical care, allowed to contact your families if possible. Because that's who we are, even when you gave us every reason to become monsters." Vorn stared. "I do not understand." "You will." On Luna Base, Alex watched the casualty reports. Human losses, 83 dead, 400 wounded. Krell losses, 1,953 dead, 1,047 captured. A stunning victory. But the prisoners created a problem. Ghost Protocol lit up with debate. Resistance leaders arguing. Some wanted executions. Justice for 15 million dead. Eye for an eye. Others argued for restraint, for proving humanity was better than the Krell. Alex listened to both sides, then opened a channel, broadcast to every resistance cell on Earth. This is Dr. Volkov. I'm going to tell you a story about my sister. Emma was a nurse, pediatric oncology. She spent her days with dying children, held their hands, told them stories, made them laugh when they were in pain. She believed in mercy, in compassion, even when it hurt. The Krell killed her, vaporized her along with 15 million others. I will never forgive them for that. Never. But Emma wouldn't want us to become what we're fighting. She'd want us to prove we're better. That mercy isn't weakness, it's choice. So here's what I propose. We treat these prisoners the way Emma would have treated them. We give them food and shelter and medical care. We show them what humanity actually is. And when this war ends, when we win, they'll go home carrying the truth. That we are not prey, we are not weak, we are capable of terrible violence when threatened, but also capable of mercy when we have the power to destroy. That's the message we send. That's who we choose to be. Emma would have wanted that. I want that. And I'm asking you to want it too. She ended the transmission, sat back, waited, responses flooded in one by one. Grudging agreement, painful acceptance, mercy won. But Alex wondered if Emma would have been proud or horrified by the violence it took to earn the right to be merciful. Month 7, Sub-Commander Vorn sat in a holding facility in the Colorado bunker. Clean, heated, fed 3 times daily, given medical attention for injuries sustained in battle. It made no sense. The Krell Imperium treated prisoners as resources, labor, genetic material, leverage. The concept of caring for defeated enemies was alien, illogical, yet the humans did it anyway. Vorn watched them, studied them the way they'd once studied Earth broadcasts, and began to understand how catastrophically the Imperium had miscalculated. These humans were contradictions, capable of savage efficiency in combat, then capable of tending wounded enemies with gentleness. They mourned their dead with grief that seemed to hollow them out, then fought the next day with renewed fury. They were individually weak, collectively unstoppable, and they learned. Every Krell tactic tried once failed when tried again. The humans adapted, evolved, changed faster than the Imperium's rigid protocols could counter. One day a human female entered Vorn's cell, Alara Thorne, the colonel who'd captured him. "I need information," she said, no preamble. "Supreme Overlord Thax, how long has he been cut off from the homeworld?" Vorn considered lying, then considered the futility of it. "Since the invasion began. The nearest Krell outpost is 12 light years away. Communication lag is 24 years round trip." Order sent. Response received a generation later. Alara's eyes widened. "He's on his own." "Completely. Supreme Overlord Thax commanded this invasion understanding protocols. Conquer. Establish governance. Wait for the next fleet. But no reinforcements will come for decades." "Does he know he's losing?" Vorn's skin flickered. "Losing the Imperium does not lose. We have conquered 3 star systems. Earth is eating you alive." Alara leaned forward. "Your forces are being dismantled piece by piece. Morale is collapsing. Soldiers are surrendering rather than dying for lost causes. And Thax has no support coming. No fresh troops, no resupply, nothing." Vorn said nothing, because she was right. "Here's what's going to happen," Alara continued. "I'm going to broadcast what you just told me. Every Krell soldier on Earth will know. They're alone, abandoned, fighting a war their leaders can't win. And we're going to offer them a choice. Surrender and live, or fight and die. They will never surrender. The Imperium. The Imperium is 12 light years away, and we are here, right now, offering mercy you never showed us." She stood, left Vorn alone with his thoughts. That night, Vorn made a decision that would have been impossible 6 months ago. He asked to speak with Alex Volkov. The conversation happened over encrypted video, Alex on Luna, Vorn in Colorado, 2 xenolinguists from different worlds. "You are the one who decoded our language," Vorn said. "Yes. You warned us before the invasion. We dismissed it." Alex's expression remained neutral. "You did. I have studied your species since capture, your psychology, your social structures. I believe I understand now the Imperium's error, which was We saw strength as the absence of compassion. We believed dominance required cruelty. We could not conceive of a species that chose restraint despite capability for violence. Vaughn's eyes met hers through the screen. You are apex predators pretending to be herbivores. Until threatened. Then the pretense ends. Alex leaned forward. Is there a point to this analysis? I wish to help you. Intelligence on Krell command structure, defense protocols, psychological vulnerabilities, everything I know. Because the Imperium will never accept defeat. Supreme Overlord Thax will escalate, become more brutal, destroy rather than retreat. And I have seen enough death. Yours and mine. Alex studied him, looking for deception, finding only exhaustion. If you're lying, I am not. I have been a soldier for 30 cycles, believed in the Imperium's manifest supremacy. Your species has taught me that belief was false. Superiority is not measured in conquest. It is measured in choices made when power is absolute. Alex considered, made her decision. Tell me everything. The intelligence Vaughn provided changed the war. Alex learned the Krell command structure relied on constant communication with central authority. Sever that connection and field commanders defaulted to defensive protocols. No initiative, no adaptation, just rigid adherence to doctrine. She designed a campaign around it. Psychological warfare broadcasts, messages in perfect Krell dialect, some offering surrender, some pretending to be Thax issuing contradictory orders, some playing recordings of captured Krell, describing humane treatment. The confusion was devastating. Krell units began hesitating, second-guessing orders. Some surrendered without fighting. Others fought savagely, then broke when command chains failed. Humanity pressed the advantage. Month 8 saw 3 major cities liberated. Month 9 saw the Krell orbital fleet reduced to scattered remnants. Month 10 saw mass desertions. Thax, watching his empire crumble, made a choice born of desperation. He ordered public executions. 1,000 human prisoners, taken in early raids, held in orbital detention, brought to Earth in chains, executed in Denver's ruins as a message. The broadcast went out on all frequencies, warning humanity, surrender or more would die. It achieved the opposite. Resistance cells that had remained cautious erupted. Civilians who'd hidden took up arms. The executions didn't break humanity's will. They crystallized it. Alex watched the execution footage once, only once, then archived it, sent copies to every resistance leader with a single message. Remember why we fight, remember what they are, and remember we're better than this. The next operation launched within days. Month 12. Kieran Voss arrived from Mars Colony on a transport that burned hard through Krell blockade remnants. Tall, red-haired, Irish heritage written in every freckle. He'd been an engineer before the invasion. Now he was something else. He carried data chips containing blueprints, schematics, technical specifications. Mars Colony had been building in secret. The colony had always been independent, self-sufficient. When Earth fell, they'd gone dark. Let the Krell believe Mars was abandoned, unimportant. In truth, they'd been working. Kieran stood in the Colorado Command Center, projected holographic images of 5 warships, sleek, deadly, built from Krell wreckage and human ingenuity. We started salvaging the week after the invasion, he explained. Krell scout ships passed through Mars orbit during their initial approach. We destroyed 2 before they reached Earth, salvaged the wreckage. Then after the orbital battle, we collected debris that drifted into outer system trajectories. Every piece of destroyed Krell ship, every crash fighter, we studied it, reverse engineered it, improved it. These ships are faster than Krell cruisers, more maneuverable, and they're armed with our sonic disruptors scaled up to capital ship weapons. One hit will crack a Krell hull like an eggshell. Marcus stared at the projections. When can they be here? They left Mars 3 days ago. Arrival in Earth orbit in 48 hours. Around the command center, staff erupted in cheers. First genuine celebration in a year. Alara pulled Kieran aside. Does Thax know? Not yet. We've been running silent, but he will soon. When our fleet appears in orbit, the entire tactical picture changes. Then we hit him before he can adapt. Alara turned to Marcus. It's time. Full offensive. Every cell, every asset. We end this. Marcus nodded slowly. Dr. Volkov. Are you ready? On Luna, Alex sat surrounded by screens, communication networks, psychological profiles, tactical data, the sum total of a year's work. Ready, she said. Let's finish this. The plan came together in 72 hours. Operation Thunderclap, named for the sound sonic disruptors made when they fired, named for the shock it would deliver. The Mars fleet would engage Krell orbital forces. Captain Zara Kincaid's Vengeance, playing dead for a year, would emerge and join them. Together, they'd destroy or capture every Krell ship in Earth orbit. Simultaneously, ground forces would assault every major Krell stronghold: Denver, Chicago, Los Angeles, London, Beijing. Alex would coordinate psychological operations, broadcasting on all Krell frequencies, overloading their command networks, creating chaos. Nisha's neural override technology, refined over months, would inject false data into Krell tactical systems, make them see threats that didn't exist, miss threats that did. Everything timed to the second, everything dependent on everyone doing their part. The largest coordinated military operation in human history, against an enemy that still controlled 40% of Earth's surface and had ships that outgunned anything humanity had built. The odds weren't good. They'd been worse. Month 12, day 364, one day before the anniversary of the invasion. Alex sat in her Luna station, communication channels open, data streams flowing. The battle would begin in 6 hours. She thought about Emma, about 15 million dead, about the billions hiding in darkness for a year, about the choice between revenge and mercy, between becoming monsters and staying human. She thought about Vorn, about the Krell prisoners working alongside humans to rebuild Denver, about soldiers from both species learning each other's languages, sharing meals, finding common ground and shared trauma. She thought about the message they'd send to the Krell Imperium when this ended, that humanity had been pushed to the brink, had fought with everything it had suffered terribly, and at the moment of victory had chosen mercy over vengeance. Because that's who they were. Not prey, not weak, not broken, human. Her comm chirped, Marcus's voice. All units report ready. We're go for thunderclap. Alex pulled up her psychological warfare protocols, the messages she'd crafted, the fear she'd weaponized. Luna base ready. Let's bring them down. Across Earth, in orbit on Mars in the Mariana Deep, humanity prepared for the final blow. The Krell had ignored the warning. Now they'd learn what that cost. The hunt was about to end, and the reckoning would be absolute. Month 12, day 365, 1 year exactly since the Krell came. The stars above Earth burned cold and indifferent. But in the orbital space between the planet and its moon, humanity prepared for war on a scale it had never attempted. 5 warships from Mars colony, the Vengeance emerging from its year-long silence. Captured Krell vessels, repurposed and crewed by fighters who'd learned alien technology through stolen manuals in desperate experimentation. A fleet cobbled together from wreckage and rage. Against it, 17 Krell warships, the remnants of the invasion force, battered by a year of resistance, depleted, but still more powerful than anything humanity had built before the invasion. Captain Zara Kincaid stood on the bridge of the Vengeance. Her ship had pretended to be debris for 365 days. Powered down, silent, drifting among the wreckage of the first battle, watching, learning, waiting. Now her crew sat at battle stations, weapons hot, engines primed. Her second officer spoke quietly. Mars fleet reports ready, all ground forces in position. Dr. Ramanujan confirms neural override systems online. Dr. Volkov standing by for psychological operations. Zara looked at the tactical display. 17 red markers. Krell ships in defensive formation above Earth. They'd grown comfortable over the months. Arrogant. That would cost them. All ships. This is Kincaid. 1 year ago, they thought we were broken. Thought we'd surrender. Thought compassion made us weak. Today, we show them what happens when you mistake mercy for inability. Today, we take our world back. Weapons free. Execute thunderclap. The Vengeance's engines flared to life. Across the orbital space, human ships accelerated. Mars vessels leading. Repurposed Krell fighters flanking. And from Luna Base, Alex transmitted a single code. Ghost protocol activated on a scale never attempted. Every resistance cell, Every hidden bunker, every fighter across Earth receiving the same message. Now, the battle began with silence. Nisha's neural override technology, refined over a year of stolen Krell equipment and desperate innovation, injected false data into every Krell system simultaneously. Their tactical displays showed empty space. Their sensors registered nothing. Their automated defenses remained dormant. For 7 precious seconds, the Krell fleet was blind. 7 seconds. The Mars warships covered the distance in 6. Their sonic disruptors opened fire at point-blank range. Capital ship-scale weapons emitting focused beams of 48.2 kilohertz, the frequency that made Krell hull materials scream and shatter. 3 Krell cruisers exploded before their crews understood they were under attack. Then the enemy fleet woke up. Krell weapon systems came online. Energy beams lanced through space. Missiles deployed. Fighter craft launched from hangar bays. The Vengeance took the first hit. Shields flaring, hull plating scorched. Zara gripped her command chair as the ship shuddered. Return fire. All batteries. Target their command ship. The space between Earth and Luna became a maelstrom of light and violence. Human ships were faster, more maneuverable. The sonic disruptors devastating at close range. But Krell's shields were stronger. Their weapons more powerful. Their crews more experienced. The battle devolved into chaos. A Mars warship took a direct hit, cracked open like an egg. Atmosphere venting. Debris spinning into the void. 300 crew gone in an instant. But 2 more Krell cruisers shattered under sonic assault, their hulls fragmenting, breaking apart. Zara watched the tactical display. Number shifting, red markers winking out, blue markers too, the math of mutual destruction playing out in real time. Status, she demanded. Shields at 40%, hull breaches on decks 7 and 12. Weapons still operational, enemy fleet down to 12 ships. 12 to 7 now, still not good odds. Then Nisha's second surprise activated. The neural override had been planting code in Krell systems for the past year. Dormant, waiting. Now it bloomed. Krell automated defenses turned on their own ships. Point defense batteries firing at their motherships. Missiles locking onto friendly targets. Security drones attacking crew. Confusion rippled through the enemy fleet. Zara pressed the advantage. All ships, focus fire on their flagship. Concentrated barrage, don't let them coordinate. The human fleet converged. Every weapon, every disruptor, every missile, all focused on the massive Krell command ship at the center of their formation. The ship's shields held for 12 seconds, then collapsed under the sustained assault. The sonic disruptors hit bare hull. The metal screamed, fractured, failed. The flagship broke apart in a cascade of secondary explosions. Supreme Overlord Thax's command was no longer in orbit. He was on Earth, in Beijing, and suddenly very alone. The orbital battle raged for 6 hours. When it ended, 4 human ships remained operational. 2 Krell cruisers limped away into deep space. The rest was wreckage. Earth's orbit belonged to humanity again. But the ground war was just beginning. Across the planet, resistance forces emerged from hiding. 1 year of guerrilla warfare culminating in a single synchronized offensive. In Denver, Alara Thorne led 3,000 fighters against the Krell garrison. Sonic weapons made their fortifications worthless. Neural override turned their defenses against them. The aliens fought desperately, died badly. In Chicago, resistance cells swarmed Krell positions from sewers and subways, overwhelming them through sheer numbers and intimate knowledge of the urban terrain. In Los Angeles, in London, in Moscow, in Sao Paulo, everywhere at once. The Krell command structure, rigid and hierarchical, couldn't adapt. Orders from Thax in Beijing took minutes to transmit. Minutes the ground commanders didn't have. They defaulted to defensive protocols, held positions, waited for guidance that came too late or not at all. Humanity didn't wait, didn't follow rules, adapted in real time, city by city, block by block, building by building. The Krell were pushed back, surrounded, forced to surrender or die. Most chose surrender. Over the following months, humanity reclaimed its world. City by city, nation by nation, the Krell resistance crumbled until only one stronghold remained. Beijing, the final stronghold. Thax watched his empire collapse. Laps on flickering screens. Reports flooding in. All bad. Orbital fleet destroyed. Ground forces routed. Soldiers surrendering en masse. Impossible. His species had conquered 3 star systems, had never known defeat. The concept existed only as theoretical failure, something that happened to lesser species. Never to the Krell, yet here he sat, surrounded by ruins of human civilization, commanding a force that disintegrated by the hour. His second-in-command approached, skin pale with fear. Supreme Overlord, all garrison commanders report overwhelming human assault. They request permission to retreat to this position. Denied, they hold their positions. They cannot. They are being destroyed. Thax's claws scraped metal. Then they die with honor. Supreme Overlord, activate self-destruct protocols, all facilities, all equipment. If we cannot hold this world, we ensure the humans gain nothing. The second hesitated. That will destroy much of the remaining city. Human casualties will number in the I don't care. Thax rose to his full height. Execute the order. The second bowed, moved to the command console, began entering the activation sequence. On Luna base, alarms shrieked. Alex stared at her screen in horror. The Krell systems were lighting up. Self-destruct protocols cascading through every installation on Earth. Power signatures spiking toward critical. Detonation in 10 minutes. Nisha, Alex shouted into the comm. They're trying to blow everything. Can you stop it? In the Mariana Deep, Nisha's fingers flew across her interface, trying to inject override codes, trying to shut down the sequence remotely. Working on it. Their encryption it's layered. Multiple redundancies. I need time. You have 9 minutes. Nisha's hands shook. Not from fear, from exhaustion, from a year of 16-hour days, from the weight of millions of lives depending on her being fast enough, smart enough, good enough. She wrote code faster than she'd ever written it, breaking through encryption layers, bypassing security protocols, racing the countdown. 8 minutes, 7, 6. Her screen flashed red, access denied. She'd hit a firewall she couldn't crack. 5 minutes. Alex, I can't, there's a manual override. Someone has to physically access the Beijing command center. Shut it down from there. How long would that take? 30 seconds if they know what they're doing. 4 minutes. On Earth, Wraith received the transmission. He was 3 blocks from the Beijing command center, had been working his way there for hours, room by room, shadow to shadow. Send me the shutdown protocol, he said, his voice calm despite the countdown in his ear. Alex transmitted the data. Wraith, you have 3 minutes, 40 seconds. Understood. He moved faster. Abandoned stealth for speed. Krell soldiers spotted him. Opened fire. He returned fire without breaking stride. Dropped 2, vaulted over debris, kicked through a door. 2 minutes. The command center entrance. Fortified. 6 Krell guards. Wraith didn't slow down. Threw a sonic grenade. The guards' armor shattered. He shot them as they fell, grabbed a dead soldier's access card, pressed it to the scanner. The door opened. 90 seconds. Inside, Krell officers scrambled. Thax standing at the central platform, eyes wide. Human Wraith shot him into the shoulder, non-lethal. The warlord collapsed. 60 seconds. Wraith reached the console, pulled up the shutdown interface, began entering the code Alex had sent. 45 seconds. His hands steady despite the firefight erupting around him. Krell guards pouring into the room, bullets sparking off consoles. 30 seconds. Last digit entered. Command confirmed. The countdown stopped at 27 seconds. A cross-Earth power core cycled down. Self-destruct protocols aborted. Millions of lives saved by a single operative who'd moved through hell in 4 minutes flat. Wraith stood, surveyed the room. Krell bodies everywhere. Thax groaning. Wounded but alive. Command, this is Wraith. Self-destruct neutralized. Target secured. Alar's voice came through. Nicely done. Hold position. We're inbound. Wraith looked at Thax, the Supreme Overlord bleeding on his own command deck. The alien who'd ordered the deaths of 15 million. Who'd thought humanity too weak to resist? You ignored the warning, Wraith said quietly. Thax said nothing. Alex made the broadcast 30 minutes later. She'd found it buried in captured Krell data, a transmission sent from the Krell homeworld 12 years ago, before the invasion, standing orders for all expeditionary forces. Her hands trembled as she translated it, as she understood what it meant. She broadcast it on every Krell frequency, every channel, every frequency. The message played in Krell dialect, then in English translation, to all Imperium expeditionary forces. In the event victory becomes uncertain, execute final protocol, destroy target world, eliminate all indigenous life, retreat to nearest outpost. Do not allow inferior species to claim victory. Do not allow capture. Death before defeat. Glory to the Imperium. Across Earth in bunkers and buildings and battlefields, Krell soldiers heard the message, understood what it meant. Their leaders, 12 light years away, safe and comfortable, had ordered their deaths, had ordered them to destroy the planet and die rather than accept defeat, had abandoned them. The psychological impact was immediate, devastating. Krell's soldiers who'd fought to the last moment laid down weapons. Officers who'd commanded with absolute certainty froze, uncertain, lost. The Imperium's hierarchy, its greatest strength, became its fatal weakness. Without faith in leadership, the entire system collapsed. Mass surrenders followed. Not dozens, thousands. Entire garrisons walking out with hands raised, begging for the mercy humanity had shown other prisoners. The war didn't end with a bang. It ended with a whimper, with aliens kneeling in ruins, asking not to die, and humanity remembering what it had chosen to be granted that request. Month 24, day 366, exactly 2 years after the invasion began. Alex stood in the transport that descended from Luna Base toward Earth. Her first time returning home since the Krell came. Her hands gripped the railing as the atmosphere buffeted the craft. Below Earth looked wounded, scars visible from orbit, but lights were returning to dark continents. Cities rebuilding, life persisting. The transport landed in what remained of Beijing. Alex stepped onto soil for the first time in 2 years. Gravity felt wrong, too heavy, too real. Marcus met her at the landing pad. Older, grayer, but alive. Alara beside him, together still, despite everything. They didn't speak, just pulled Alex into a fierce embrace. 3 people who'd fought a war from different fronts, who'd survived when millions hadn't. He's waiting, Marcus said finally. They walked through ruins to the command center. Wraith stood guard outside, nodded to Alex as she passed. Inside, Supreme Overlord Thax sat in restraints, shoulder bandaged, eyes tracking Alex as she entered. She studied him. This being who'd ordered the deaths of 15 million, who'd thought humanity weak, who'd learned the hardest lesson of his long life. You speak my language, Thax said, his English perfect, unaccented. I do. You are Dr. Volkov, the linguist, the one who sent the warning. Yes. I dismissed it, thought it amusing. Primitive beings threatening the Imperium. His eyes met hers. I was a fool. Alex pulled up a chair, sat, made herself comfortable. What happens now is your choice. We can execute you as a war criminal. You've earned it. 15 million dead. Thousands more in your executions. We'd be justified. Thax's skin darkened, waiting for the blow. But we won't, Alex continued, because that's not who we are. You studied our broadcasts, saw our charity, our compassion. You thought it made us weak. You couldn't understand that it was a choice. That mercy isn't inability, it's restraint. She leaned forward. The Krell had come expecting conquest, found resistance, expected submission, found defiance, expected weakness, found strength beyond their comprehension. You ignored our warning, forced us to show you what we're capable of when threatened. And you lost. Completely. Utterly. Your fleet destroyed, your forces surrendered, your invasion failed. Thax said nothing. Here's what happens next. You and every Krell who wishes to leave will board transports. You'll return to your homeworld, and you'll deliver a message from humanity to your Imperium. What message? Alex stood, looked down at the broken warlord. That you dismissed our warning and paid the price. That you learned the hard way what happens when you mistake human kindness for weakness. That we are not prey, not slaves, not resources to harvest. We are equals, maybe more, because we had the power to destroy you, and we chose mercy instead. Tell your Imperium that humanity offers peace, trade, cultural exchange, everything civilization should be, but also tell them we will never be unprepared again, never be caught defenseless. If they come in friendship, we will welcome them. If they come in war, she paused. Let the weight settle. There won't be another warning. They'll find what you found, and they'll lose what you lost. Everything. Thack stared, his rigid worldview crumbling, reforming into something new, something that acknowledged humanity as more than prey. I will deliver your message, he said quietly. One more thing. Alex's voice softened. The Krell who choose to stay, we have 3,000 who've asked for asylum. They'll be welcomed, given citizenship, allowed to build lives here, because that's also who we are. We don't punish soldiers for following orders. We judge individuals by their choices. She turned to leave, stopped at the door. My sister died in your first strike, Emma Volkov. She was a nurse, spent her life healing children. She'd have hated what I became to fight you, the violence, the ruthlessness, but she'd have understood. And I think she'd be proud that at the end, we chose mercy, that we stayed human despite everything you did to break us. Thax's voice was barely audible. I am sorry. Alex didn't turn around. So am I. 2 weeks later, 300 Krell transports departed Earth orbit, 15,000 Krell aboard, returning home, carrying the truth about what happened when the Imperium ignored humanity's warning. Alex stood on Luna Base's observation deck, watched the ships accelerate toward the outer system, small lights dwindling against the stars. Beside her, Marcus and Alara, quiet, reflective. Think they'll come back? Marcus asked. Maybe, in 12 years when our message reaches them. Maybe they'll want revenge. Maybe they'll want peace. Alex shrugged. Either way, we'll be ready. You changed the galaxy today, Alara said. Showed them humanity isn't prey, isn't weak. Emma changed it, Alex's voice caught. She and 15 million others. They paid the price. We just honored it. They stood in silence, watching Earth below, wounded but healing, humanity rebuilding, growing stronger. The Krell had come as conquerors, left as students. They had believed humanity weak, learned otherwise through fire and blood, had demanded submission, received defiance that shattered empires. And at the moment of victory, humanity had made the hardest choice. Not revenge, mercy. Not because the Krell deserved it, but because staying human mattered more than satisfying rage. Alex thought about the message traveling toward the Krell homeworld. 12 years at light speed, a generation from now, the Imperium would receive it. Would learn the cost of dismissing humanity's words. Would learn that Earth was no longer defenseless, isolated, naive. Would learn that humans chose peace when possible, but war when necessary, and mercy when victorious. Would choose how to respond. Peace or war, friendship or enmity, the future unwritten. New York City, 2 years and 3 weeks after the invasion. The memorial covered an entire city block. 15 million names etched in black stone, arranged by city, by age, by the random cruelty of where they'd been when the light came. Alex found Emma's name among the New York section, touched the letters, cold stone against warm fingers. We won, she whispered, took back Earth, showed them we're not weak, not prey, and we stayed human through it all, chose mercy when we could have chosen vengeance. I hope that matters. Hope it means something. Wind stirred her hair, carried the sounds of the city rebuilding, construction, voices, life continuing. I miss you every day, but you'd be proud of what we became, what we chose to be. She stepped back, saluted, civilian gesture but heartfelt, turned and walked away, work waiting. Earth needed rebuilding, defenses needed strengthening, the future needed preparing for. Behind her, Emma's name joined 15 million others, permanent, unchanging, a reminder of the price of peace, the cost of mercy, the weight of survival, and above in orbit, Luna Base kept watch, sensors scanning, listening for threats, ready to send a warning if new visitors came, ready to fight if that warning was ignored, because humanity had learned the hardest lesson. Peace was not weakness, mercy was not submission, kindness was not inability. True strength meant restraint when destruction was easier. That was the message traveling toward the Krell homeworld. That was the warning Earth sent to the galaxy. Come in peace, be welcomed. Come in war, be destroyed. Ignore the warning face, humanity unchained. The choice was theirs. Humanity would be ready either way, 24 years later. Earth. Alex was 59 now, director of the United Earth Diplomatic Corps, gray streaking her hair, lines around her eyes. The message had taken 12 years to reach the Krell homeworld, 12 more to return, a generation spent waiting. She'd imagined this moment countless times. Would they choose revenge? Would they choose peace? She received the transmission in her office. A single word that had traveled 12 light years to the Krell homeworld, then 12 more back. 24 years, a generation, peace or... She sat back, smiled, thought about Emma. She sat back, smiled, thought about Emma, about Marcus and Alara retired but still alive, about Wraith training the next generation, about Nisha leading Earth's technological renaissance, about choices made in darkness, about mercy when vengeance would have been easier, about staying human when becoming monsters would have been justified. The Krell had learned, had chosen wisely. The galaxy was changing. And humanity, once prey, once weak, once dismissed, stood ready, not as conquerors, as equals, as they'd always been, as they'd always deserved to be. We warned them, Alex whispered. They listened, finally. Outside her window, Earth turned, blue and green and alive, scarred but healing, changed but unbroken, humanity's world, defended, protected, free. And the stars above held no more terrors, only possibilities.